Hey, it's Drybear. I had a friend ask me whether the Deluxe Edition upgrade for Dragon's Dogma 2 was worth it, as they're interested in the game and want to get involved. So today I'm going to answer that very question, as not only the Deluxe Edition, but also all of the pre-order bonuses are only available for the next couple days. So if you're someone who hasn't upgraded or hasn't pre-ordered, today would be a good day to figure out whether it's worth it for you. And I'll start by summarizing that everything that's available in the Standard Edition pre-order, the Deluxe Edition, Definitive Edition, and the Deluxe pre-order bonuses are mostly cosmetic. There are some gameplay benefits, but all of the items that exist can be either replaced with something better in-game or can be earned by playing the game itself. So there's not anything that's going to come to you that's insanely overpowered or insanely exclusive. It just gives you a little bit of a bonus or gives you some cosmetic options that might change how you play, but that's the overall summary for what's available in these bonuses. But let's first look at the pre-order bonuses, since these will be no longer available once the game releases on Friday, March 22nd. The first is, if you buy the game before it comes out, even the Standard Edition, it counts as a pre-order and will allot you the Superior Weapons Quartet. And these are golden weapons for the 4 starter vocations that you choose in character creation. And that is a golden sword and shield for the fighter, 2 golden daggers for the thief, a golden staff for the mage, and a golden bow for the archer. Now, we do have confirmation that these are going to be slightly better than the items that you start with when first making your character. We don't know exactly when these will show up. It's possible you'll have to go 5-10 minutes into the game before you'll have access to these, but these are going to be slightly better than the beginning weapons. However, because they're only slightly better, you will be able to very quickly replace these or get better versions of the weapons for those vocations as you play through the game. So it doesn't really give you a massive advantage, but it does give you a little bit of a jump start at the beginning of the game, as you will be able to have these items in stock. Additionally, if you pre-order the Deluxe Edition, which is $10 more than the Standard Edition, you get a mystery ring that they have told us nothing about. And that is this ring right here, the Ring of Assurance. And they've been very specific to not give any details about this ring at all. In fact, most of the marketing people don't even know what it does, and they want people to find out once they get into the game itself. But we can make our theories based on the name of the ring and based on what we know about jewelry in Dragon's Dogma 1. Some people have made the joke that the Ring of Assurance gives the developers assurance that you have assuredly bought the Deluxe Edition and given them more money. But considering it's an early game item that you get right off the bat, I'm going to wager that it's going to be an item that is some sort of cheat death mechanic. Maybe while wearing the ring, you will take damage that might KO you, put you at 0 health, and instead of killing you, it puts you at 1 health anyways, and the ring goes on cooldown or is consumed, and it prevents you from dying for that one time, which I think would be a great starter item for people that are getting into the game and learning it, and they may not have any wake stones to res themselves, or they haven't saved in a while and they don't want to die. Having the Ring of Assurance assures that you don't die there on the spot. But those are the 2 sets of items you'll get. The Ring of Assurance is for the Deluxe Edition, and the Superior Weapons Quartet comes from the Standard Edition if you pre-order the game before Friday, which honestly is just kind of like a bonus. You either get if you're gonna get the game anyways and play it on Friday, you may as well just get the pre-order bonus, at least for the Standard Edition, as you'll have some nice golden weapons to play with at the beginning of the game and potentially even forever as you make new characters and new save files. Next, let's talk about all of the items that come with the Deluxe Edition. There's a bunch of game items in here that do tons of different things, and let's talk about what they do exactly and what you should know about them. First is a cosmetic reskin for your camping gear. In Dragon's Dogma 2, you can set up camps that allow you to rest and recuperate and craft and cook and interact with your pawns and do things like that. And in the shops in the game, you'll be able to spend the in-game currency to unlock bigger and better camps or cosmetic changes for your camps. And with the Deluxe Edition, you get a exclusive Deluxe Edition version of the Explorer's Camping Kit. This is just a different change. It has a green and golden tree banner on the side of it, and has a different layout and has a different tent here and a different look to it. But this is entirely cosmetic. This doesn't mean you'll be getting the camping gear early. It doesn't mean that your camping gear is going to be better. It just looks different. So if you want a unique aesthetic that only comes with the Deluxe Edition, then this is something you may want to consider. Next, you'll get 1,500 Rift Crystals, and this by itself, by the time you're like mid-game, is going to be almost nothing. It's very, very little. The amount that this gives you is very little. So Rift Crystals, if you never played the first game, are a currency that you earn by mostly fighting big mobs, big monsters, and taking them down, collecting Rift clusters and Rift fragments throughout the world, or completing quests. It is a unique Rift currency that you use in the Rift, either at a vendor to buy buy special items that are only available to the Arisen, or by going into the Rift and hiring powerful pawns. When you hire support pawns to join your party, if they are equal to your level or below, it costs you 0 Rift Crystals in the first game, and it seems like that's going to be how it is in the second game as well, which means if you're just hiring pawns at your skill level, it will cost you no Rift Crystals. But if you want to hire a pawn that's stronger than you to give you a boost to get over a difficulty spike or get through a boss or something like that, you would have to spend more Rift Crystals to do this. Now again, Rift Crystals come primarily from killing giant monsters and completing quests, but you can also earn Rift Crystals by having other people hire your pawn, and there's even a pawn system that promotes popular pawns, or if your friends use your pawn, you'll get Rift Crystals for it. So again, by the middle of the game, or even like mid-early game, you're not really, like 1500 is not going to be a whole lot. What this does for you is it means that right at the beginning of the game, you have a little bit of boost of it. So if you find the Rift Crystal shop, you can spend and buy if there's any early cheap items that are there, or if you wanted to get a pawn that's a little bit better than the level 1 characters that you have, this will give you a little bit of a boost, but this bonus will very easily lose its value towards mid-game. Another Deluxe Edition exclusive is the Custom Sound Pack. It is a Dragon's Dogma music and sound collection, and what it does is it allows you to toggle this on to change some of the in-game music and in-game sound effects to that of the classic Dragon's Dogma 1. So if there's some sound, like sound files or sound effects or music tracks that you really like that are super nostalgic for you from the first game, you'll be able to hear those in Dragon's Dogma 2 if you have this available. I think this is just more of a fan service item, but it does come with Deluxe Edition. Deluxe Edition also comes with 6 in-game items, actual items that you'll have in your inventory. Some of them are pretty good and some of them are pretty niche. So let's walk through them. The first one is you will get a whole completed Wake Stone. Now this is something that is quite useful, and again, as the game goes on, will become less and less. A single one won't be as valuable, but having one right at the start of the game can be super useful. So the way these work is they are basically a resurrection stone. They allow you to resurrect in place if you were to die. It allows you to bring back pawns or NPCs that have completely died and have gone away. It allows you to just basically bring the dead back to life. But as you go through the game, you're going to start getting more and more of these. So these aren't going to be exclusionary to the Deluxe Edition. It just means that you'll start the game with one, which can be useful because we know for sure in Dragon's Dogma 2 that any and all NPCs, except for maybe the main story quest NPCs, can actually die in Dragon's Dogma 2. So a griffin might break into a town and kill your favorite vendor, and that vendor will then show up in a morgue in that town, and their body will be there for a couple game days. And if those game days pass without you going to the morgue and resurrecting that NPC, they will die permanently for the rest of your run. So it might be useful to have a Wake Stone in your pocket at the very beginning of the game if something like that happens, if tragedy strikes, and you're able to resurrect that NPC. But again, you'll be able to farm and collect these as you go through the game anyways. Next is a Harpy Snare Smoke Beacon. This is an item that you'll probably end up crafting or finding throughout the game anyways. I'm not really sure why it's in the Deluxe Edition, but what it does is it allows, it draws harpies toward it. That's all it does. It's just a smoke beacon that brings them. Now, if you have a quest where you have to kill a bunch of harpies, it might be useful, or maybe you want to lure them away from something, but this is a very normal game item that I honestly wouldn't put much value into at all. It just can be useful in some situations. Maybe there's a harpy nest you have to clear out right at the beginning, and this makes it super easy, but this isn't really something that I would consider, like a consideration for using your actual hard-earned money on. Next is a Heartfelt Pendant, and this one is kind of like a rapport item or an affinity item. We actually don't know how important an item like this actually is, if they have like a rarity system where some provide more affinity than others, but you're able to give this pendant to an NPC and gain affinity or rapport with that NPC, which will give you certain benefits. Now, again, a lot of this is mysterious because they haven't gone through these systems extensively for us to know exactly how this works. It's possible you could use this Heartfelt Pendant to give it to a maester in order to gain their favor and then start learning new secret skills for your vocation. It's possible that you can find an NPC that you want to romance, you give them this pendant, and you're able to find your romance partner right off the bat, or it could just be a normal rapport affinity item that you use for that. All we know is we can offer this to an NPC and we gain affinity for it. We don't know how much, we don't know how good this one is, but this could end up being useful if there's an NPC early on in the game that you really want to give a gift to that might give you some kind of benefit. Next is the art of metamorphosis, and this is like a Fantasia in Final Fantasy, or a retransmog, or a race change, visual change in any other RPG. All this does is allows you to change the appearance completely of an Arisen or of a pawn. So the way this worked in the first game is you could go to barbers and change your hair or maybe your skin tone, but the core base bone structure and race of your character could not be edited at all. Like if you made a character that was beastrid in this game and you didn't have art of metamorphosis, no amount of barbershop attendance is going to change you into an elf or a goblin or into a human. You're going to be beastrid forever. So what the art of metamorphosis does is a full, complete appearance change for either the Arisen or of a pawn. I'm guessing it's one or the other. You have to have one for each, and this just gives you one that maybe partway through the story you get sick of the way your pawn looks, or you get sick of the way your Arisen looks. You can use one of these to change it. Now, if this has got kind of like Monster Hunter, like Rise or World, it's possible they offer these as microtransactions for like $2 on the shop, on Steam or PlayStation Store or what have you, in order to change the appearance of your characters. But having one right off the bat as part of the Deluxe Edition is kind of nice if you really want to change the look of your character. You also get the ambivalent Rift Incense. This is an item that allows you to instantly change your pawn's inclination. So inclination is a learned behavior set for your pawns, and this is actually super important in this game because the behavior sets for the pawns have gotten way more advanced and way more evolved than the first game. But in the first game, you could teach your pawns to either be aggressive in battle, to target the adds, like the weaker mobs in a fight, or target the stronger, like go for the champion, I'll clear the adds with AoE, or you go for the adds, I'll go for the champion and fight them down, or you can force them to back up and play in the back of the fight if they're a healer. You can train them to try to get elevation, things like that. So if they have the wrong inclination, it's useful to be able to reprogram them to say, hey, I need you to behave this way specifically so that it suits my needs better. Or maybe you change vocation and you change their vocation and they should behave completely differently. Having this item available is going to be super nice, though all indications tell us that this item will be available in game and will be earnable in game. This one just gives you one right off the bat in the beginning that might be useful at the start. And the last Deluxe Edition in-game item is the makeshift Gaul key, which is jail. Gaul is jail. So it's a jail key, and this is basically an item that allows you to get out of jail if you are put in jail. So in Dragon's Dogma 2, if you are a miscreant and you go into town and you cast a destructive meteor on top of a whole bunch of citizens, they're going to grab you, the guards are, and they're going to throw you in jail. There will be plenty of ways for you to get out of jail, and those will be up to you, but this is a Deluxe Edition item that allows you to use this item and exit jail at your leisure, because I guess they don't frisk you and take your items away. You can just have this in your pocket and get out whenever you want. It's probably consumable, one-time use, but even if it's not, you can use it forever. It just allows you to get out of jail if you want to be an evil doer inside of towns and you don't want to use the other options that will be available to you. And that's the full list of the pre-order bonus for both the Standard Edition and the Deluxe Edition, as well as all of the items and bonuses you get in the Deluxe Edition itself. Being that it's only $10 US more than the base edition, you might, if you're someone especially who played Dragon's Dogma 1, or you just want to have a really smooth experience going into Dragon's Dogma 2, it might be worth it to you. It might not be, depending on how much value you hear, but it really is going to be a subjective decision. Anything that you get in these can easily be earned or farmed on its own, except for the cosmetic items like the music and sound collection, the Explorer's camping kit, and perhaps the golden weapons for the pre-order bonus. But the Rift Crystals, the Art of Metamorphosis, the Ambivalent Rift Incest, the Jail Key, the Smoke Beacon, the Pendant, the Wake Stone, all of these are going to be very easily farmable and earned by your character in the playthrough, and you'll be able to kind of deal with that on your own. So again, I would say that the overall value of the Deluxe Edition and the pre-order bonus is just going to be a cosmetic facelift for your experience going to Dragon's Dogma 2, and it'll give you some nice pitfall catches, some like safety nets that help you in the early bit of the game. Maybe someone dies when you really don't want them to super early on. You'll have a wake stone to bring them back to life. If you find an NPC that you want to gain affinity with, you don't have to go farm rapport items that allow you to get affinity with that NPC. You have an item in your inventory already. Maybe your pawn isn't behaving the way exactly that you want. You have something to change their inclination. You can break out of jail. You can change your pawn's appearance or your appearance, or if you find the rift store, or you just want to, at level 1, hire a pawn that's slightly more powerful than you are, you can do that right away in the rift because you have a little bit of rift crystals to start. But if you're someone who doesn't see value in these items, you're not going to miss out on a whole bunch. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.